day full of hand jobs. Mornings with Mo.
Good morning, everyone. It is the 21st of April, which means we all survived 420. Yay, us. And, Easter and all of that. Well, most of us did. But let's do welcomes. Thank you, Wolfram, for doing your Modly Mod duty. And 80s Music Man, good morning. King Bob and Tammy Bogard, welcome, welcome. Looks like we have trying to say hi to everyone. So there was unfortunately one person who did not make it through the Easter holiday, kind of an important person, and I shouldn't be laughing as I talk about this. But Pope Francis, the first pontiff from the Americas, has passed away at 88. So yes, it does look like we will be getting a new pope. So it did seem like this was probably going to be coming with his, health issues, the fact that he only had one really functional lung. This didn't seem to be something that has taken everyone by shock, but it's still pretty sad. Now, Pope Francis, who became the first South American and Jesuit to ascend to the most powerful position in the Catholic Church, has passed away at the age of 88, just one day after Easter Sunday. Now, Cardinal Kevin Farrell, the Vatican, speaker, confirmed that the beloved pontiff had passed on Monday after a prolonged battle with double pneumonia. Good morning, Audio Coffee and Denise. Dearest brothers and sisters, with deep sorrow, I must announce the death of our Holy Father, Francis, Farrell said in the announcement. At 7:35 this morning, the Bishop of Rome, Francis, returned to the home of the Father. His entire life was dedicated to the service of the Lord and of his church. The statement did continue. He taught us to live the values of the gospel with faithfulness, courage, and universal love, especially for the poorest and most marginalized. With immense gratitude for his example as a true disciple of the Lord Jesus, we commend the soul of Pope Francis to the infinite merciful love of God, one and tribune. Now, the selection process for the next pope, named conclave, generally starts to take place around 15 to 20 days after the pontiff's death. Now, the Pope's death comes just one day after there was some kerfuffle with Vice President J.D. Vance at the Vatican, so who knows? If there's a way to make this political, I'm sure they will, and there you go. Apparently, J.D. Vance, done irritated the Pope to death. So there you go. This is a pretty big thing. Catholicism is, kind of a major sect of Christianity. That being said, now Kiwi, they're saying that he passed at 7:30 Monday morning. This was up prior to 7:30. I don't understand. That being said, I wish you the greatest of peace, and hopefully we find a new pope that we can all like. I don't know. I'm not Catholic anymore, so I really don't care. I mean, who they pick as, Catholic president. That being said, also things not to do in on Easter. Just, I didn't think we would have to explain this, but we already have someone who wasn't dealing with Easter quite well. A woman has been arrested for sending poisoned Easter eggs to her ex's family in an alleged revenge plot. Unfortunately, this cost one child their life. I don't know. What is wrong with people? A jealous ex allegedly sent poisoned chocolate Easter eggs to a home of her love rival, killing a 7-year-old boy and leaving 2 people in critical condition in Brazil. Now, Jordelia Pereira Barbosa, 35, allegedly purchased chocolate eggs in disguise at a supermarket, then spiked them herself before they were delivered to the home of her ex-boyfriend's new partner, 32-year-old Marianne Lara, according to reports. Now, Barbosa left a note with a gift that read, "With love to Marianne Lara, Happy Easter," the Daily Mail reported. Now, she had received a gift and shared the eggs with her children, 7-year-old Louise and 13-year-old Evelyn, last Wednesday. Little Louise fell ill almost immediately after eating the chocolates and passed away at a nearby hospital the following day. Evelyn and Liara are still in critical condition at the same hospital, according to the Standard. Who does this? Like, why? And you're just a terrible person. Now, the cause of death for little Louise has not been confirmed, and the remaining chocolates are still being tested. Now, Barbosa previously hatched a failed plan to poison Laura, according to local reports. She had allegedly tried to give her tainted chocolates at a chocolate tasting session for employees at the supermarket where she worked, according to Imperiats Online. Now, the Marijanao civil police arrested Barbosa while she was on a bus heading to her hometown, Santa Ynez, last Thursday after authorities found receipts pointing toward her role in the poisoning. Now, police also spoke with Barbosa's ex-boyfriend, who had indicated that she could have been involved, according to the Daily Mail. I mean, always while you're on, a bus, don't get arrested while you're on the bus. Now, she did admit to purchasing the chocolates, but not to poisoning the eggs. It was a coincidence, I tell you, a coincidence. But in addition to the receipts, police also recovered 2 wigs. Hey, that could be for normal use. Scissors, cards, a saw knife, and an unknown substance in Barbosa's possession. Now, Mauricio Martins, a security official in Brazil, wrote a statement to the Standard that alleged that the poisoning was motivated by revenge and jealousy. There are several indications that clearly point to this woman being the perpetrator of the crime, and the police will continue working to strengthen this evidence and present her to the judiciary to answer for this barbaric crime, Martins reported. Now, a similar attack was perpetrated by a toxic relative that rocked Brazil in December. A woman allegedly baked and laced a Christmas cake with arsenic before feeding it to 6 of her relatives. 2 died immediately, while others passed away shortly in the hospital. So 3 passed away and 3 were okay. The other 3 were hospitalized and eventually discharged. Don't go to family, mix-ups in Brazil. I think we are learning that apparently if anyone gives you baked goods in Brazil, no. No, no. Holy goodness. Because, normal. Well, it's finally happened. This is how Skynet takes over. The robots are running now. I'm gonna have to be extra nice to my toaster for when, Skynet takes over. But robots are hitting the street against humans in a Beijing half marathon. So, I mean, why is the robot all on the other side so it doesn't attack people? The world's first humanoid robot half marathon was held in Beijing on Saturday, with the robot Tiangong Ultra crossing the finish line in little over 2 hours and 40 minutes. Despite giving it all its circuits could handle, the Ultra was still left in the dust by the fastest human finisher, who crossed the line at a brisk 1 hour and 11 minutes. About 20 other bipedal robots joined more than 10,000 humans in the 21-kilometer race. Why? I don't understand any of this. Why would you do this? Now, barriers did separate the robots running track from their human counterparts, and engineers were allowed to make adjustments to their high-tech proteges along the way, with aid stations specifically for robots. However, instead of water or snacks, the stations provided batteries and technical tools. The race was considered one of a more technical demonstration, and no robot really had a chance of winning overall. The Chinese government is promoting the development of artificial intelligence and robots this year amid efforts to boost the economy and a growing tech rivalry with the United States. this proves that you have people who will dedicate themselves to running next to a robot. So there you go. Only in Beijing can you run safely guarded away from robots. It's like Will Smith had from iRobot, and this was the dream. What is going on? Now, we are ready for that time where I introduce you to 4 people that I think need to be introduced to one of our very special friends. Yes, everyone. 4 people this morning need to visit Lord Chippy. Yes, they do. So gird your ear loins because here comes Lord Chippy. He needs to meet 4 people. Well, first one, if he doesn't get, caught for murder, at least his, trying to bring Miami Vice back could be an offense that I'd be willing to mark him guilty for. A Turkish prince, medical researcher who ordered the murder of a business associate by a fake US Marshal was found guilty. Well, I mean, everything in that headline, I was getting ready to tell him he could meet Nigerian princes and, do all that fun stuff too, but I hadn't heard of a Turkish prince. Wow. A Turkish national who lived in a California mansion and worked as a biomedical researcher faces a lifelong prison sentence for orchestrating the 2018 murder of a business associate in Vermont. Well, see, there you go. I could always be successful and look like this douche, or I could just have my own fun story where I make fun of these people. Now, a federal jury convicted Serhat Gamrucho of conspiracy to commit murder for hire, and conspiracy to commit wire fraud per court records. Now, Mr. Serhat ordered his co-defendant, Burke Inray, to have someone unalive 49-year-old Gregory Davis, who is set to expose, Serhat over a fraudulent oil deal. I mean, those fraudulent oil deals will get you all the time. According to the criminal complaint, the suspects enlisted an ex-jail guard named Jerry Banks to pose as a U.S. Marshal agent, travel to the Davis home in Danville, and arrest him. Now, Banks, dressed in a Marshal, uniform, probably with the creases still from the Amazon thing, put Davis in handcuff and drove him some 25 miles away, where he then shot the victim multiple times and left the body in a snowy bank along the side of the road. Now, Davis was the father of 6 with a pregnant wife at the time. Now, Banks pled guilty in June 2023 and testified that Serhat, whom he only knew as the Turkish prince, was really behind the plot. Burlington NBC affiliate WPTZ says. Now, the government pointed out several times that, Serhat had often referred to himself as the Turkish prince. Sir, honestly, don't give yourself a nickname. Your nickname will come to you. Now, douchey douchemaku, I mean, that would be the name I would give you. Turkish prince, no. But, that is what he said. Now, Law and Crime had previously reported that feds learned that Serhat had also called himself His Royal Highness. Feds laid out a scheme in court documents. In the early investigation of the case, Serhat, whatever his name is, was identified as the likely suspect involved in the murders because Serhat and his brother Murat were the only people who appeared to have been in a dispute with Davis that would have been potentially a motive for his execution. In 2017, Davis was threatening both brothers about going to the FBI with evidence that, both of the Turkish princes were defrauding him for a multi-million-dollar oil deal that they had entered in 2015. Now, both of them failed to perform on the deal and had made various claims about their attempts to perform. Now, Davis believed that the brothers had lied to him about various matters. And during 2017, Serhat was facing felony charges in California state court. Now, one of those suspected fraud charges involved bounced checks that Serhat had provided to a middleman in the oil deal, Gregory Gag. Now, on one of the bounced checks, Serhat had falsely called himself His Royal Highness Serhat Gamruko, his reference to Royal Highness. Him and Meghan Markle, just like that. Now, the associations continued by referencing the biosciences company, which, both brothers had helped to launch, a company which immediately distanced itself from him when it learned that he was arrested. In that same year of 2017, Serhat was putting together another successful deal that came together soon after the murder, namely his significant ownership stake in a biotech company, Inochan Biosciences. Well, Serhat therefore had a strong motive to prevent Davis from reporting yet another fraud, likely threatening that particular deal. At present, Serhat appears to own over $100 million worth of that particular stock. In May 2022, about a week before his arrest, Serhat had generated $2 million in cash from an Inocan stock sale. So neither Serhat or Marat had traveled to Vermont to personally unalive Davis, so it was more likely that the plot involved a hired unaliver. Now, Marat, who lives in Turkey, visited the United States between December 2017 and March 2018. He was staying at Estre's former apartment in Las Vegas at the time of the murder. Federal agents, executed a search warrant before Murat left the United States, and both of the Serhat brothers were interviewed during 2018 about the murder, and both denied any involvement. So there you go. It does look like they found him guilty, though. I mean, who could have thunk it? Now, the government asserted that even though all of these investigations, and there are still loads more that they were going through, had appeared to go cold from the public's perspective, but it remained an ongoing yet covert sort of investigation. The co-conspirators from Banks to, Serhat to Murat likely thought they had gotten away with murder, federal prosecutors wrote, but that unraveled when the government chose to take overt steps. Now, federal witnesses said one witness immediately flipped, which is great. So basically, he has been found guilty, and it looks like Davis's widow is filing a wrongful death lawsuit against the Turkish prince. So I'm okay with it. May you go face Gen Pop justice. Now, in this genetic mutant who seems to laugh at other people's pain, what the hell, dudes? Like, no. Quote, a big smile on his face, end quote. A witness said a former best friend whooped to celebrate the impact of a 9-pound rock thrown from his speeding car that killed a 20-year-old woman. The scene inside a Colorado courtroom looked like a grim picture of human action on Friday as a young and condemned man testified his one-time best friend's alleged glee in violence. Joseph Edwin Koning, 20 years old, was a high school senior, but 18 years old when he and two friends were charged with, quote, extreme indifference murder over the April 19th, 2023 death of Alexia Bartel, 20 years old. On the day in question, the windshield of the victim's Chevy Spark was struck and smashed by what authorities termed a large landscaping rock. The impact sent the young woman's, car careening off the road on a remote stretch of the road in Jefferson County. Now, Bartel unfortunately passed away in the ensuing crash. Prosecutors have previously testified quite graphically that the victim's brain was found in her back seat. Quote, there was biological matter on the highway, a deputy sheriff who led the murder probe testified during a hearing in October 2023. In May 2024, the two co-defendants in the case, Nicholas Mitch James Carroll Cheek and Zachary Kwok, pled guilty to lesser crimes and substantially lesser crimes, respectively. Now, they both agreed to testify against Koning during his trial in Jefferson County District Court. Each of the co-defendants, to varying degrees, played instrumental parts in the rock throwing that night, but Carol Cheek was admittedly more culpable than Kwok, also having taken part in such attacks in February 2023 and even days before in early April 2023. Now, on Friday, Carol Sheik told jurors Koenig let out an excited whoop as he saw Bartol's compact car drive off Indiana Street through a fence in a field near Rocky Flats National Wildlife Refuge, according to a courtroom report by the Denver Post. He was excited, the witness told the jury, referring to the defendant. He would just look at us with this big smile on his face. On that fateful night, several landscaping rocks were thrown at other cars, both in motion and parked, but some claimed details are mixed. Kwok maintains that he did not throw any rocks all that night, according to the Post. Instead, he testified that he only contacted and collected all the rocks from multiple parking lots, then handed them over to the two front seat passengers who actually threw them. Sure. Okay, Jan. Now, the speedometer in the teenager's vehicle was showing 103 miles per hour just before the 9-pound rock was thrown that took Bartol's life. Kwok previously testified. Now, Carol Sheik, however, said that the car was doing 80 miles per hour. Both men said that Koenig sped up before the fatal attack. Now, Carol Sheik went on to say that the celebratory whooping and smilings were in line with how the trio had generally acted over rock throwing, incidents all that night. When a rock struck a car, they would express delight. When a rock missed a car, they would express disappointment. We only thought of them as cars, the witness continued, but we never thought about who might be driving them. Each of the defendants was initially charged with first-degree murder, attempted murder, assault in the second degree, attempted second-degree assault. Now, Kwok took a plea deal on 3 assault charges, 1 count of first-degree assault on Bartel and 2 counts of second-degree assault for attacks on 3 other victims. Carol Sheik pled guilty to 1 count of second-degree murder. Even with the plea deals, Carol Sheik and Kwok face decades behind bars as they are slated to be sentenced on May 1st and May 2nd, respectively. Now, Koenig, for his part, has conceded some responsibility. His lawyers insisted he should only be convicted of manslaughter because none of the rock throwers had any intent to kill or even harm anyone else. You sped up, you launched a honkin' rock out your window and then laughed as she ran off the road. Yeah, you intended someone to get hurt. And if I can be charged for reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon if I drive a car like a jackass, well, then so can you, busty boy. Now, the defense is also hinging some of its hope on a long inconsistent statements from the friends who are turning state's evidence, trying to figure out who actually threw the rocks. During a fourth and final proffer interview, an interview in a service of a plea deal, did Carol Sheik finally tell investigators that Koenig was responsible for the woman's death? Now, at the time, he and Koenig were best friends and almost close enough to be brothers, Carol Sheik reported to the jury. The lies that came during the 3 out of the 4 proffer interviews came because Koenig and Carol Sheik decided to pin the crime on Kwok, who they barely knew, during a discussion after seeing emergency vehicles later that night. We went over everything that happened, and it was like at that time that Joe said to me, "Hey, we shouldn't even have to worry about it. We'll just say that Zach did it," Carol Sheik testified on Friday. However, on cross-examination, Carol Sheik also said he long believed that Kwok had actually thrown the rock, according to the Post. Now, the witness testified that he remembered remarking on the sheer size of the rock, recalling he told Kwok it was too big to throw, and being rebuffed. Carol Sheik went on to say that he remembered Kwok saying that he could throw the rock if, Carol Sheik could not. But then the state worked to clean things up a bit. Was the truth that Joseph Koenig threw the rock that killed Alexa Bartel? The prosecutor asked on redirect, and he did reply in the affirmative. This coming week, jurors will decide who and what they do believe, as closing arguments are scheduled to end by April 21st. So this will be an interesting one because you do have those, I turned state evidence. I'm singing, I didn't do nothing. He totally did it. It'll be interesting to see what the jury thinks about this because I think Lord Chippy, but that's just me. And just an absolutely heartbreaking story. And one of the ones that I'm like, Lord Chippy, hello. An Arizona suspect in a bus stop hatchet attack has been charged with murder after, unfortunately, the victim passed away. I did want to wait on this story to see if maybe the victim would either recover or unfortunately pass away, and it looks like he unfortunately did pass. 2 weeks after an unprovoked hatchet attack nearly decapitated a man sitting with his wife at a Tucson, Arizona bus stop, the suspect has been charged with first-degree murder. Daniel Michael, 25, or no, Mitchell, sorry. Daniel Mitchell, 25, was initially charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and aggravated assault with serious injury earlier this month after an April 5th attack that left Jacob Couch, 32, on life support. Now, on Friday, unfortunately, Couch passed of his injuries, and Mitchell now faces first-degree murder charges, the Tucson Police Department confirmed in a press release Saturday. He's got the biggest heart that I believe I've ever met. Couch's younger brother, Luke Couch, told Fox News Digital earlier this month. And I really mean that. He was just a caring person. He loved his family, and he was really big about his family. Couch and his wife Christine were in California mourning the loss of their unfortunately stillborn son, and they decided to travel across the country back to their hometown of Arab, Alabama by bus. On their way home, their bus stopped in Tucson, Luke told Fox News Digital. Now, someone told them to get up, and my brother told them to mind their own business. They weren't doing anything. They weren't causing any trouble, he said. And then Kristen could tell that the guy was getting really agitated, so she told them that they were getting up, they were going to leave. When Couch bent down to gather his things, the man came up behind him and swung a hatchet. And the witness said that he lifted the axe up over his head and swung it, he said. Now, Mitchell fled the alleged attack, which happened around 10 a.m. He was arrested 3 days later at his Tucson home. His lawyer in the initial bond hearing said that self-defense could not be ruled out. But Luke Couch balked at that idea, telling Fox News Digital that there was no evidence to support that. And they said that he was going to be trying to grasp at straws, grasp anything. I mean, my brother was attacked from behind while he was bent over. That is not self-defense, Luke stressed. I want to make sure this man never does this again, and no other family has to go through what my family has gone through, he said. To see my brother lying in a hospital bed, unable to move, unable to do anything, it hurts so bad to know I wasn't there to protect him, because that's what he would have done for me in a heartbeat. All we want is swift justice. Now, Couch was a father of a 15-year-old girl. So this will be another big case that I think that people are going to start really, really looking at what self-defense means, because I think we have a very confused idea of what self-defense means and what is an appropriate and reasonable reaction, because this isn't it. That being said, this is going to be a case that I think is really going to take off, and I wouldn't be shocked if we don't, if we don't hear it and see it on the Petty Express coming soon. Now, UK, I rarely pull anything up about you, but I did not know that the UK also had the creepy, gross, disgusting teacher monsters. I didn't know that you had these gross teacher monsters over in the UK. We apologize. America's exports have been really, really sucky lately. That being said, our final for Lord Chippy today, a depressed female teacher shouldn't be jailed for, essaying a child, the court hears. Now, I won't pontificate too much because I don't know UK law that much, but this is some redonkulousness. A teacher accused of essaying a child should not be imprisoned because she has depression, a court has heard. Rebecca Richardson, 54, is fighting extradition to Turkey over allegations that she SA'd a young child while teaching an international school position in Istanbul. Now, the child was aged between 4 and 5 years old when the, abuse happened in early 2019. Westminster Magistrates Court heard on Thursday. Now, Miss Richardson from Cradley in Herefordshire left the UK in 2000 to spend nearly 20 years living abroad, including in Mexico and Hong Kong, before moving to Turkey in 2013 to 2019. The extradition hearing was told. Now, Dr. Richard Latham, who assessed her, said that Miss Richardson suffered from moderate depression. Well, isn't that special? I mean, welcome to Who's Normal and Who Can See Reality. Now, Graham Hall, representing Miss Richardson, said that asked Dr. Latham if she were to be extradited, would her symptoms worsen? Do I give a shit? I mean, I'm pretty sure Turkish prison isn't going to be great, but I don't care. Dr. Latham responded that her feelings would be hurt if she had to go to a Turkish prison. He was asked if her self-deletion thoughts would worsen if she was extradited, and Dr. Latham said yes, adding that the teacher was able to give the impression that she was in a better state, but she's really lying. Now, Dr. John Tooley gave evidence by a video link, and he said he deemed Miss Richardson's condition to be mild, with no objective signs that she is severely depressed. Miss Richardson, who was in, the seat in the front of the dock, wore a white shirt and a black blazer. Don't care. She spoke only to confirm that she understood her duty to return to court for her next hearing. She was granted conditional bail and will face a further extradition hearing on June 2nd. The decision to extradite her will not be expected until at least 2 weeks after that. So there you go. I say we send her to Turkey. I don't care about her feelings. That being said, Lord Chippy, thank you for your service. There are a lot of weird people out there, and we keep finding more of them for you. There you go. Now, on to the Wawa revolution, people. The Midwest is getting Wawas. We're gonna go, forget Canton. We've got Wawas in Ohio now. Wawa has officially opened its first store in Ohio. Hells yeah. Big gulps for everyone. Wawa has opened shop in Ohio. The popular convenience store chain's first location in the Buckeye State held its grand opening on Wednesday morning in Liberty Township, not far from Cincinnati. The grand opening event, which took place on Wawa's 61st anniversary, involved announcements of grants to local community partners, a Hoagies for Hero hoagie building contest, and a ribbon cutting, according to Wawa. The new Liberty Township store paves the way for Wawa's entry into the Midwest and adds yet another state to the company's footprint. It is the first of 9 Wawa convenience stores slated to open in Ohio by year's end. We're thrilled to fly into Ohio and bring our unique combination of fresh food, beverages, convenience, and services to new friends and neighbors in the Buckeye State, Wawa President Brian Schaller said. Now, Wawa is kind of like, I guess, a Buc-ee's. It's a big, big convenience store, but they're fairly ubiquitous along the eastern seaboard and things like that. So I don't know. Honestly, I could be just fine if we all went Buc-ee's. I mean, brisket, I'm good. Like, you had me at brisket. This historic milestone kicks off the next chapter of our growth in the Midwest, and we're overjoyed at this warm welcome as we continue to receive from many communities that are now proud to stand a part of the Wawa flock. This sounds like I'm making up things. Now, it is estimated that some 2,000 long term new jobs will arise from this overall planned expansion into the Buckeye State. So, there you go. The convenience store is looking to open 45 to 55 stores in Ohio within the decade at a pace of about 4 to 10 new stores each year. Each store will require an advertise or an investment of over, 1 million or 7 million on Wawa's part. I don't get it. I mean, so there you go. If you would like to go visit a Canton favorite, there you go. Now, the, convenience store brand has been rapidly expanding in the recent year and currently operates over 1,100 locations across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, Florida, North Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, Washington, D.C., and as of Wednesday, Ohio. Oh, I did not know there was a Sheets thing in Michigan. But there you go. If you'd like to go to, Wawa, there's some in Ohio now. I don't know why. Um, in the things that in reasons I will never drink. This guy, a drunk diner falls onto a table, impaling his head on a 15-inch metal rod, but is miraculously okay after a 10-hour surgery. What the hell was going on in this store? What is going on here? A diner who had had too much to drink fell on a dinner table and impaled his head on a more than 15-inch metal rod that pierced through his mouth at a restaurant in China. Why? Now, the intoxicated man, named only as Akwang, uh, and that's what I'm guessing, was impaled on the rod, which went through his mouth and deeply into his skull, according to the report. Chilling x-rays show, well, exactly how far it went up there. I mean, dear Lord, he's never drinking again. Chilling x-rays showed just how close the rod came, just 2 millimeters away from damaging critical areas in his brain. His colleagues were left horrified as blood poured out of his mouth, and they quickly called an ambulance. Firefighters had to cut the outside part of the rod before surgery could even begin, according to the publication. He was rushed to Sheshan University General Hospital in the southern Chinese province of Guangdong for treatment, where the doctors shared details of his case on social media on April 11th. His life was saved after 10 hours of emergency surgery, which could have gone wrong at any moment due to the amount of bacteria which was on the rod, according to the outlet. This foreign object carried a lot of bacteria. The path it penetrated the patient involves, his mouth, eyes, and brain. Any small, careless operation might lead to a fatal problem, doctors said from the hospital's trauma center. Now, the rod had a clip at the end, which made it particularly difficult to remove without damaging, his brain, eyes, and mouth. After the operation, he remained in intensive care for several days to fight against infection and stayed in the hospital for a month. Now, he has suffered impaired vision in his right eye, but otherwise his verbal and motor skills have miraculously been undamaged. I still feel scared when I think about the incident. I was saved by doctors. It is a blessing in a bad situation, he was quoted as saying to the local press. Well, there you go. I mean, that or maybe just don't drink no more. I'm just throwing it out there like maybe this is a sign. And I didn't know where to put this. I feel terrible, but do what in the headlines am I looking at? Unfortunately, a 14-year-old girl was unalived by a lion in front of her horrified friend after the wildcat entered her residential compound. Well, I'm guessing now, obviously, this was in Kenya. This was not in, Texas, although I have seen, the Tiger King. So I was not too, I would not have been shocked if they said Texas. A 14-year-old girl was unfortunately, attacked and unalived by a lion in front of her horrified friend after the animal had entered the residential compound that they lived in Kenya, according to what authorities had said on Sunday. Now, the unnamed child was scratched by the wildcat from a residential area on the outskirts of the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, before her friends called authorities. The Kenyan Wildlife Service, or KWS, in a statement, KWS rangers and response teams were swiftly mobilized and traced bloodstains leading to a local river where, unfortunately, her body was recovered. Now, the lion is believed to have escaped from Nairobi's national park, which borders the residential compound where the girl was attacked. The killer lion remains on the loose, but a trap has been set and search teams have been deployed in the wake of this attack, according to the Wildlife Service. Additionally, security measures have been taken to further prevent any attacks. Nairobi National Park is just about 6 miles away from downtown Nairobi and is home to cheetahs, leopards, lions, buffalo, and giraffes. The park is fenced on 3 sides to prevent the animals from roaming into Nairobi, but it is open on its southern side to allow the animals to migrate in and out of the park sort of naturally. While lions can come into contact with humans and harm livestock, fatal attacks on people are quite rare. A day earlier, a 54-year-old man was unfortunately unalived by an elephant in central Nyeri County, which is about 80 miles north of Nairobi. Okay, maybe don't say like it's not really, it's not really a thing. Like every once in a while you have a wildlife attack and then you're like, "Oh, well 2 days ago it was an elephant." I mean, now the consecutive deaths were not isolated incidents, and the KWS needs to improve risk assessments and ensure accurate real-time communication of wildlife movement and behavior, especially in known high-risk areas such as Savannah Ranch. Paul Hakumbo, the head of the Wildlife Direct Conservation Group, told the BBC News. All lodges, camps, and residential developments near wildlife reserves should also be equipped with anti-predator deterrent systems, including lights, alarms, secure fencing, and anti-predator sprays. Or a force multiplier. I'm just throwing it out there, but hey, not my backyard, not my problems. I can't even deal with the squirrels that are trying to unalive me, so I don't know what to say. Well, here's a life story that's never of all those things that you think it would only happen to me, well, this is the one time it hasn't happened to me. I almost died falling into quicksand, and it changed my life for the better. Well, that's one way to get out of going to the beach ever again. Like, no, the quicksand nearly killed me. I'm done. Like, I'm okay. Just let me go. This couple sank into each other's hearts. A man who fell into quicksand while strolling along a beautiful beach with his best friend had his life changed by the terrifying accident. Pals Mitchell O'Brien and Brienne Sika were enjoying a relaxing day out on a recent spring weekend along Lake Michigan. But suddenly, O'Brien found himself being sucked several feet into the sand. There we go. All it took was one small, wrong step into a patch of soft sand, and within seconds, he was waist deep in the sand with water swirling around him. He kicked his leg out sideways to stop himself from falling any further, only to realize that there would be no quick way out of the shocking quagmire. Oh no, this poor man's on the cell phone. All this would happen to me. Skika wanted to call for help immediately, but O'Brien insisted that he could dig himself out. After about 15 minutes, though, he did concede that he probably couldn't escape on his own, soon noticing that the sand was coming back almost faster than I could get it out of the way. For me, those moments were pretty terrifying, Sika added, remembering the sinking feeling of watching her best friend struggle to get out. They finally agreed that authorities needed to be called and both called dispatch. In her panic, Sika referred to her longtime best friend as her boyfriend during the call, while O'Brien called her his girlfriend. The report was the first time the twosome had ever mentioned having any romantic feelings for one another. Oh, this is so cute. Make it a Hallmark movie. I need this with a Hallmark. This, you know what? They need to get married. I need to see them get married and have cute little, babies. They get, just next to the quicksand thing. Oh, now I'm all like happy. I'm like, oh, he got stuck in quicksand, but he made a girlfriend. It just 2 years of this guy being my best friend and trying to hide everything about how we felt, and he tried to die on me and becomes my boyfriend, Sika explained. Well, I mean, men are dramatic. Firefighters eventually arrived on the scene and did pull O'Brien out of the dangerous mix of sand and muck. It turns out the quicksand is the quickest way to turn a friendship into a dateship. So, men, if you are struggling to tell that person who's put you in the friend zone, get yourself some quicksand. Because, they did throw him a fire hose. I feel bad for him because I could imagine that I would do that all the time. And on some, well, funnier stories, over and more heart-lifting, over 900 people played Monopoly to honor a girl who passed away and loved the game, setting a new world record. Over 900 people played a Monopoly game to set a world record. The late March event, which earned Guinness World Records for most people playing Monopoly, was held in Sydney, Australia, to honor a young girl who loved the game. Parents of Allegra Vasilou, who passed away from brain cancer in 2017 at the age of 6, cherished the memory of playing Monopoly with their daughter, who would always uphold the rules and beg for just one more rematch, according to Guinness World Records. We really wanted to create a space that allowed for both young and old to come together and celebrate her and accomplish something that everyone could be proud of, her mom, Sue Elaine, told the record book, all whilst raising awareness for this disease that took our daughter, brain cancer. Players broke up to over 150 tables of 6, all using an officially licensed version of the game, which had Allegra's image on it. The Little Legs Foundation, which was created in Allegra's memory to raise awareness for brain cancer, hosted the March 30th event, which bested the previous world record of 733 people, playing Monopoly at once. To say you broke a Guinness World Record title isn't something very common. To say you have your own version of Monopoly dedicated to you is even, more rare. Sue Elaine continued, but Allegra has her very own army, and together we have the power to do so much in this world. So, I mean, very cute story. On to y'all, I try to warn you, this is how final form Jesus happens, but this man will not go away. And yes, you are a man, Toko. I'm sorry. But yes, Toko, the human collie, is still here, still trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen, sir. Stop it. Toko, the human collie, who lives in a, $16,000 dog suit, may be forced to close his human zoo. That is correct, his human zoo. I would figure that would just be a Walmart. That's where I do my people watching. Other people don't seem to share his interest in being pet amorphous. Toko, the human collie, will have to shutter his bizarre people zoo just months after opening it because it has received no bookings whatsoever. If we do not receive any reservations by Saturday, April 19th, we will close the store, the collie cosplayer who lives in Japan lamented on X. known only as Toko, the Lassie Masquerader, went viral in 2023 after dropping more than $16,000 on a hyper-realistic custom collie suit to realize his dream of becoming his own best friend. I, this is such a call for help. Like, you don't have to dress up like a dog. Apparently, he also has another costume. Oh, for God's sake. He quickly took the world by storm, amassing over 60,000 followers on YouTube, where he frequently posted footage of himself going for walks, performing tricks, and frolicking with other humans in sheepdog costumes. Because that's normal, as you do. Now, hoping to help others to go to dog heaven, Toko opened the Tokidoki Zoo, where people can follow suit by spending over $300 a day to don a life-size Alaskan Malamute costume with jaws that can open and close. Oh my God, you guys, I don't want to have to crowdsource, but if you guys pay for me to go there, I will totally take film footage of my cripple behind trying to get into the Alaskan Malamute costume. I mean, it's a small price to pay for, me to go to Japan. I am willing to go dress up as the Alaskan Malamute for views. What is going on here? This cannot be real. Now, billed as a place where your wish to become an animal comes true, the Toko Toko Zoo opened in Santayama Prefecture, just north of Tokyo. The role-playing paradise was initially a hit, taking bookings for months in advance due to its popularity. But it appears that the novelty has since worn off. Toko explained on X that the human zoo will close in June, so interested parties should make bookings in April and May. He added that there were still spots open for May 4th, but if no reservations came in by this weekend, he would have to scrap the event. No human zoo. If you're thinking about trying it out, please make a reservation, pleaded Toko in the post, translated from Japanese by Google, whose imitation doggy daycare has an opening for April 27th as well. Now, as of yet, only cash is accepted for this experience, which lasts about 180 minutes and can include up to 3 participants. Now, it is unclear whether other payment methods or animal costumes will be available in, the future, if there is one. There you go. We're missing a lifetime opportunity to dress up as this dude, because why? But there you go. In our final story, a Massachusetts teenager's message in a bottle from 1976 has just recently been found in the Bahamas. I mean, sounds like anything. A pair of brothers walking along the coast of a remote island in the Bahamas found a message in a bottle that had been written by a 14-year-old Massachusetts student in 1976. Clint Buffington, an experienced beachcomber who has found more than 100 messages in a bottle across North America and the Caribbean, said he and his brother Evan were exploring the coast of an island in the Bahamas a few weeks ago when they made the discovery. I hear my walkie-talkie crackling to life, and my brother says something like, "You're not going to believe what I just found," Clint Buffington told WCVB TV. The old Pepsi bottle containing a note written by Peter R. Thompson, a 14-year-old Pentucket Regional Junior High student from West Newbury, Massachusetts, who was taking an oceanography class at the time. The note in the bottle would be tossed into the ocean by the Coast Guard. The Buffington brothers were able to get in touch with Thompson, who said he didn't even remember writing the message, but he had fond memories of the oceanography class. It's amazing. It's almost 50 years later, so it's a surprise, Thompson said. Buffington said he and hoping to eventually return the note to Thompson in person. So, you know, if I could shave time in a bottle, I wouldn't dress up like a dog. Well, as you guys all know, tomorrow starts the Karen Reed case. We will be going full Karen Reed, full time, and, dealing with all the shenanigans. My Bev wig is on its way here today. It should be in by noon today. So hopefully I can get, Bev is back, back again. Bev is back. Tell a friend. So hopefully on our final day, as we get, all of these preparations. I get all of my, cleaning and all of that stuff done today so I can pretend to look like I actually am functional on the Karen Reed. Thank you guys, as always, for joining me on Monday, starting the week off right with absurdity, a man who dresses up as a dog, and everything. And we will be starting tomorrow. I will be dual streaming with Baker. And, it's going to be what it's going to be. Bev wig. I need to go out and get some White Claws today. I have so many things to do. White Claws, red Solo cups, making a Brennan sock puppet with googly eyes. I mean, I am on a mission today. I do have some newsy nuggets that will be coming out as I'm covering Karen Reed. I will probably be putting out more newsy nuggets and then a review at the end of the day of what went on with Karen Reed. Uh, you know, for like 10 to 8 minutes. And yes, we are I am getting storms still. So, thank you all so much for giving me the Monday morning motivation to get all the stuff done before we meet tomorrow and start the Karen Reed trial. Oh my god, it is a Japanese Chloe costume. May or may not be working on Chloe ears as well today. So I will be crafting and I will be super gluing and using all the googly eyes. So I will see you. Hopefully, I will do a video of all of my props and for today. And have a great day, you guys. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire because kindness doesn't equal doormat anymore. Bye, you guys. And let me see who I can send you to because I always suck out loud at this and I need to get better. One day I'll be a real adult. Let's see. Oh, well, Aussie Overlord is on, so it looks like builds and boobs. And I am a firm fan of boobs, so have fun. Go say hi to Aussie Overlord for me and, appreciate boobs. Bye, you guys.